The next stage, once we have the picture on the box nicely described, our story that opens up, is now we have to deconstruct it. Once the picture on the box is clear, once everybody knows or has a sense of where we're going, once the story is told and people are craving more, now we actually have to do the hard work of putting the pieces of the puzzle in place. Now we actually start to break down the story and say, how did this happen? How did this person get there? How was this product developed? How was this innovation, how did we come up with this innovation that will change lives? And then we have to go through the much more structured, much more linear process of putting the pieces in place to demonstrate how we got it. In other words, we deconstruct it. So what I want you to do is go write an outline. Now here's a little trick. Our mind, the way we think, is we actually think constructively, not destructively. If you think about how we write PowerPoints, for example, what we do is we tend to have a PowerPoint and we sort of say at the top of the page, sort of like budget or something like that. And then we make an argument, and at the end, at the bottom, we put the conclusion, the big reveal, right? And when this is what we do when we do these things. Go do that as you normally would. And then when you're done with your outline for your talk, simply reverse it all. So it's sort of different than most people think. They think they have to build an argument to get to the end, which produces a ta-da. And the process that I espouse is start with the end in mind and then deconstruct it. So there's no ta-da. There's no reveal of the curtain. What ends up happening is the audience starts to understand themselves as you deconstruct and reconstruct the image, and then basically you'll end up where you started. So number one is, what does human connection mean? What does it mean to have a human connection, right? What human connections are. So I'm gonna have to somehow figure that out, right? There's some sub things here that I'm gonna have to try and explain what human connections are. The second thing is, what are the things that break human connections? Then I want to probably have something to do with the role of the technology. Once we fully understand our logic here, what human connections are, the things that break them, and the role technology plays in breaking them, I probably want to offer some practical steps how we can recreate these, how we can mitigate the cost of this technology. That seems like a pretty good outline. And if I do my job right, the conclusion I will come to will look exactly like the picture I painted at the beginning. Hopefully, people will start to believe my argument by the time I get here. They'll start to see that I have a point, and the whole role for the practical steps are somebody says, wow, I buy into this, but what am I going to do? And this is very often where, if you're presenting a piece of technology, a product, a service, a design, it's probably at this low level, believe it or not, that your design or your application or your technology will actually now be presented. The techniques for presenting are not just for presenting ideas. You can present designs, you can present products, you can present innovations, you can present policy, if you like. It all is the same structure. You have to show the benefit, the end result that will come to life. So let's talk about a car example. A car salesman trying to present this new car. Very, very often, what starts to happen is the car salesman starts just by telling you what's in the car. It's got, great gas mileage, and it's got leather seats, and it's got, a big engine. And they just start throwing facts and figures, hoping that they're making a compelling argument for something. And again, they're showing up with a taking mentality, sell the car. Now, what if you showed up with a giving mentality, right? It begs the question, sort of, what are you buying the car for, right? Well, I'm a parent, and I'm trying to get my kids to school every day. That's really all I need. Okay, imagine this. Imagine, painting a picture, right? Imagine that you're living this life where it's easy to get the kids in and out of the car, where when you're in the car, it's peaceful and fantastic, and your kids love traveling with you in the car. It's not a burden. It's not a big deal. You never have piles of mess in the car. It's sort of this remarkable life that you're living. Is that something that's interesting to you? Well, of course it is. Well, now let me tell you how you'll get there. We have big sliding doors that kids can get in and out easily. We have TV screens so that they're entertained while you're driving. We have these carpets that lift up easily so that you can easily clean it so it always stays nice and easy. The point is I'm not selling the car, I'm making the argument, I'm building the facts that support the image that we're trying to get to. And it's just much more compelling because people don't see themselves in the car, they see themselves in the image that you painted at the beginning. Zig Ziglar said it best, people don't buy drills, they buy holes. And so instead of talking about the drill, we have to talk about the hole in the wall. So often people present, when they give a presentation, they start with the technology that they have and then explain the value of the technology, as opposed to painting a picture of our lives and then shows how the technology or innovation fits in or amplifies whatever it is we're trying to achieve in our life. In other words, the example we've used before with a car, it's not that a car can simply go fast and you can get good gas mileage, and it's not simply about getting to the places you need to go. It's about the human desire to explore. It's about freedom. It's about being able to live further away from our workplace because we can commute. It's lifestyle stuff. It's human stuff. And this technology, this car, is the answer. It's the thing that advances the picture that we painted. So it's really important that you understand what you're going to be presenting. Now, understanding doesn't just mean the technical details of your product or service or idea. It also means understanding the people who will benefit. So for example, the hard work isn't just understanding all of the spark plugs and electronics of the car. You actually have to have a deep understanding of the people who will buy the car, of the people who will benefit from it. Understanding is more than engineering. It's actually human. And any idea that someone has to present, the minimum standard is to understand their own product or service. But it's vastly more compelling if they understand, they've done research, they've done work, they've spent time with, best one all. They are one of the people who will actually benefit from, use, and enjoy whatever product, service, or innovation they're proposing. So understanding is more than the technical. Understanding is also understanding the human beings who will derive benefit. Now, once you have an outline, even a bad outline, and I'm a great believer in practicing when things are imperfect, because you will discover the imperfections, you will discover the things that work and don't work, and amazingly, you usually discover the solutions when you actually practice out loud. Once you get good at sort of understanding your own story, your own talk, then practice with a clock. Then understand where you can make cuts and edits. We want to have people around us that we can turn to. The problem is the only way to ensure that those people will be there for us in our time of need is that we invest the time and energy to make it happen. I've run out of time. There's no way I can get, I have 50 seconds left. There's no way I can get through this in 50 seconds. Okay, I'm going to start again. So I know I have 4 minutes. The problem is I think I have more content here than 4 minutes. Going to have to take a different strategy. I could probably lose most of this stuff with a couple of exceptions, like I want to keep the word investment in there for sure, that our relationships are investments, and then get into the interruption of phones. So I'm going to give it a try again. I'm going to keep my opening story in. I'm going to let my story do all the heavy lifting about the value of relationships and avoid all the science of the relationships, and then get right into my addiction argument. So let's see how that works out. Okay, I'm going to try and do a run through now with a timer, so I know I have 4 minutes. Okay. I was out with a friend recently for dinner. It's a friend I haven't seen in a while, and she just got back from vacation. I was really eager to hear about her vacation, and it was really fantastic. I mean, she went and hiked a mountain. It was just wonderful. And then it was, I was telling her what I did over the holiday, and in the middle of me telling her, her phone lit up, and she went and grabbed her phone, and I remember feeling kind of sort of like small. I remember feeling sort of like dejected, like here I'm excited and engaged, and all of a sudden, whatever was going on the phone was more important. Worse than feeling the way I felt, I realized that I do that I go out for dinner with my friends, and I reply on my phone, and I walk them through what's going on to prove that it's okay for me to somehow justify the interruption. In other words, for some strange reason, we are all keenly aware when we do things that are interrupting these relationships. And not only do I not want to feel like that anymore when I go out with my friends, but I don't want to make my friends feel like that either. So it gets me thinking, why does that happen in the first place? I know that human connections are some of the most valuable things in the world. The very success of the human race is because we worked together. We've done it together. None of us is strong by ourselves. None of us is able to accomplish much by ourselves. It's our ability to form trust. The problem is trust is not an app. There's no rush to making a trusting relationship, which is we're investing in building these relationships, except when we're supposed to be spending the time and energy, in other words, investing in getting to know someone and building up the trust, or maintaining it if it's a real an existing relationship, we keep interrupting it, and it actually destroys that investment. So if we really want to strengthen the relationships when we have with our friends, if we want to build trust on a level with our colleagues that is stronger than ever before, if we really want to fill that trust bank with lots of our time and lots of our energy, maybe we should start by going out for dinner and leaving our phones at home when we do. What if we didn't keep our phones in our desks when we talk to people so we don't have the addiction? We put it in a drawer when they walk into our office so we literally don't have the addiction. It is upon us. We will beat the addiction, and we will build better bonds of trust if we can invest the time, if we can take the risk to start to wean ourselves off these addictive phones for no other reason than because it feels good.